Day at 6:30 p.m. IST, 1 p.m. GMT.
Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Tanvi Taneja. Coming up in the next hour, big news coming from Paris Olympics. Swapnil Kushale has won the bronze medal in 50-meter rifle shooting. This is the third medal for India in Paris Olympics. Swapnil Kushale finishes third with an aggregate of 451.4. He has secured India's third medal in shooting and overall. Earlier, Manu Bhaker won the first medal in 10-meter air pistol. Then Manu Bhaker and Sarabjit Singh won the second medal for India in the mixed team event. And now it is Swapnil Kushale's turn. The 28-year-old finished third with 195 in standing after 156.8 in the prone section and 153.3 in the kneeling rounds. So Swapnil had finished 7th in the qualifying round with a total score of 590, including 38 in a 10x. This was Swapnil's 3 positions, and he is now the first Indian shooter to win an Olympic medal in the men's 50-meter rifle 3 positions event. What a proud moment for India. So what a meritorious feat for Swapnil Kushale and the nation. India, third bronze medal from the Paris Olympics. A look now at the headlines we are tracking at this hour. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi hold talks with the Vietnam counterpart Pham Minh Chinh. Agreement to expand strategic partnership signed. Calls for restraint grow after the killing of Hamas chief Ismail Haniyeh in Iran and atop Hezbollah commander in Beirut. Indian embassy issues advisory for its citizens in Lebanon. After continued protests near the Downing Street against the Southport stabbing incident, UK police arrests a 17-year-old boy from Lancashire, charges him with murder of 3 young girls. And India's shooter Swapnil Kushale wins third medal for India, a bronze at the Paris Olympics 2024. He has won the bronze in the men's 50-meter rifle 3 positions final. So, Vietnamese Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh, who is on a 3-day visit to India, met Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the Hyderabad House in New Delhi. Prime Minister Narendra Modi welcomed his Vietnamese counterpart with a warm gesture. Both the leaders held bilateral talks at the Hyderabad House in the national capital. Substantive discussions to further energize the India-Vietnam Comprehensive Strategic Partnership topped the agenda. Both the leaders held wide-ranging talks and agreed to further expand the comprehensive strategic partnership between the two countries. Earlier, Prime Minister Narendra Modi received his Vietnamese counterpart at the Rashtrapati Bhavan, where he received a ceremonial welcome at the forecourt of the Rashtrapati Bhavan. That's India's President House. The visiting dignitary also inspected a guard of honor by the combined defense services of the country. So, the visiting dignitary, the Prime Minister of Vietnam, visited Rajghat and paid floral tributes to the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi, in New Delhi earlier in the morning local time. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi held bilateral talks with his Vietnamese counterpart Pham Minh Chinh in New Delhi on Thursday. After the talks, several MOUs were signed between India and Vietnam in the presence of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Vietnamese Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh at the Hyderabad House in New Delhi. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Vietnamese Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh jointly inaugurated the Army Software Park at the Telecommunications University in Nha Trang, Vietnam. An MOU was also signed between India's public service broadcaster Prasar Bharati and Vietnam's national broadcaster Voice of Vietnam on exchange of radio and television programs in the fields of culture, education, science, entertainment, sports, history, tourism, news as areas of mutual interest subject to contractual and intellectual property laws in force in their respective countries. And now we are joined by Ashok Sajjanhar, a former senior diplomat from New Delhi, on this story. Welcome, sir, to the program. Well, Vietnam is reportedly keen on exploring the possibility of free trade agreement with India. We'll get more inputs from what has been signed just a short while ago. But what gains do you think would likely accrue to the two countries through such a pact, free trade agreement?
Thank you very much, Tanvi, for having me on your show. I think it's a very good forward movement. India already has a free trade agreement with all the 10 ASEAN countries. India also has individual self-standing agreements, free trade agreements with a number of other countries like Singapore, like Thailand, like Malaysia. And Vietnam is a very significant trading partner of India. $15 billion is the bilateral trade. Of course, the potential is much more. We export about $5 to $6 billion and import about $8 to $9 billion of goods from there. But I think in the area of goods, services, investment, both there is great potential and possibility. Both India and Vietnam are rapidly expanding economies, rapidly growing economies. So I think both of them, there are huge complementarities. And I think if there is an FTA that is established, then it would definitely be a win-win proposition. It would be helpful for both the countries. So I'm very glad to know that there is keen interest on the side of the Vietnamese, and also as far as India is concerned. The last point here I would like to make, Tanvi, is that it is not only in the area of economy and trade, but stronger partnership between India and Vietnam also has a great strategic significance, because Vietnam is a very important element of our Act East policy. It's a very significant partner in the Indo-Pacific, and so our areas of cooperation are many. So this will provide further ballast to our strong partnership.
Okay, so Vietnam is seeking investment from Indian businesses in infrastructure. In which key areas is there scope for such investments?
The infrastructure in Vietnam is already pretty good, but of course, you know, there are always possibilities, whether it is in the area of roads, rail, also in the area of digital infrastructure, also in the area of social infrastructure, whether it is education, setting up universities, also in the area of health infrastructure. So there are a large number of areas where both the sides can work together. We already have about $2 billion of investment in Vietnam. We have about close to 400 Indian companies which are working there. But again, as I said, since both the countries are rapidly expanding, both the economies are very dynamic, I think there is such a great possibility. India has registered huge successes in the area of public digital infrastructure, as we have been able to see. And I think those who came here for the G20, all the world leaders or who participated, I think they have been able to see for themselves the achievements of India. So I think, as I mentioned, the potential is huge, and both the countries really need to get down to working on it. It is very good. I think this visit of the Prime Minister is very good. It is the first visit by a Vietnamese Prime Minister in the last decade, over the 10 years. And it is the first visit by a Vietnamese Prime Minister after the comprehensive strategic partnership was signed in 2016. So I think this demonstrates the seriousness of both India and Vietnam to take this relationship to the next level.
Okay, Mr. Sajjanhar, I request you to stay on with me here as I bring my reporter live who's covering the story, Akshay Dongre from New Delhi. Akshay, what do we know about the talks between Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister of Vietnam? We know one agreement between the public service broadcasters of the two countries, Prasar Bharati of India and Voice of Vietnam has been signed. But do we have information of what other agreements have been signed upon?
Well, there have been a range of agreements as far as the two leaders are concerned, and the agreement that has been signed between India and Vietnam, as far as the agreement to which you are referring to is concerned, regarding Prasar Bharati and the Voice of Vietnam, the development of television and radio platforms in both the countries. That is just one part of it. There is an agreement that was signed on agriculture. There is in which both of the countries will exchange technologies and farming methods to improve their yield, use the best practices, share the best practices that both the countries use. And there are other range of agreements that have been signed. But, I was here where Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Vietnamese Prime Minister were present, and as they pressed that green button to sign the comprehensive partnership deal as well. But one of the things that was standing apart the most was the 5 more that were mentioned by the Vietnamese Prime Minister. In fact, they went on to show that it's not just the maximum capacity of the relation between the two countries, but what Vietnam expects from this relationship is much more. And in fact, much more deeper relations. In fact, he talked about deeper defense cooperation, deeper culture-to-culture ties, people-to-people ties. In fact, he in fact said that tourism should also grow. He also talked about science and technology, semiconductors, AI. He talked about increased defense cooperation. He talked about South China Sea. So it was quite clear from the body language of the two leaders as well, that how close and how warm the relations can be as far as the future is concerned, and what shared challenges and opportunities both Vietnam and India are looking forward to, not just in the South China Sea, but also in the Indian Ocean region, in terms of open and free trade, in terms of other issues that concern both the countries, and other opportunities that both the countries can in fact grab.
Okay.
So that is what became clear as far as this meeting is concerned. And in fact, the Vietnamese Prime Minister has also invited Prime Minister Narendra Modi to visit Vietnam as well, to share the same kind of hospitality that he has witnessed here. Back to you.
Okay, Akshay, thank you very much. So we see a range of topics have been covered in the talks between Prime Minister of Vietnam and the Indian delegation. Coming back to you, Ashok Sajjanharji, well, South China Sea tensions have figured in these talks. So talking of defense cooperation with Vietnam, what scope or what potential do you see in this area?
I see huge potential, because I think there is a growing recognition that China is becoming very aggressive in that area. You might also, and your viewers might also recall, that when our former president Pranab Mukherjee, he had visited Vietnam in September of 2014. We had gifted $100 million worth of 4 boats for providing security and safety to Vietnam. This was of course just a beginning. It is much more can be done, both in terms of supplies of equipment, also in terms of greater military exercises, also in terms of greater visits, in terms of greater collaboration through visits of senior officials. We had our naval chief visiting Vietnam very recently. So, and we have also been investing for exploration of oil and minerals in the South China Sea, in the Vietnamese continental shelf. So that's another area where we can work together. And if I could also add, Tanvi,
yes.
that, you know, what was mentioned also, tourism is a very important sector because tourism is also business as well as culture, as well as people-to-people contact. And many people don't know that there was a big Champa dynasty in Vietnam from the 4th to the 14th century for 1,000 years. And there are absolutely phenomenal Shiva temples in the center of Vietnam. Monsoon is one of them, which is a UNESCO heritage site which was declared in 1999. And I think those are areas, also the area of Buddhism, because it is a Buddhist country. So whether it is utilizing the facilities in Nalanda University or elsewhere, I think increasing tourist exchanges, there are huge potentials, unlimited potentials, and I'm happy that this visit by the Vietnamese Prime Minister is taking place, which I'm sure will give a very strong impetus and boost to bilateral ties.
Yes, to the comprehensive strategic partnership between India and Vietnam. Thank you very much, Ashok Sajjanharji, for joining us and giving your analysis.
Thank you, Tanvi. Always a pleasure. Thank you. Goodbye. Thank you.
All right, let's move on. Still to come on DD India News Hour. US denies having involvement in the Tehran strike on Hamas's political chief Ismail Haniyeh, stresses on the importance of Gaza ceasefire talks. Venezuela's Nicolas Maduro signals willingness for talks with the US if Washington shows Caracas due respect.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Thank you for staying with us. You're watching DD India News Hour with me, Tanvi Taneja. On to the Israel-Hamas conflict now. United Nations Security Council countries on Wednesday called for restraint to avert a wider West Asia conflict after the killings of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh and top Hezbollah military commander, raising tensions. Japan's deputy UN representative Shino Mitsuko urged international forces to prevent any conflict. China, Russia, Algeria and others condemned Haniyeh's assassination, while the US, the UK and France raised what they said was Iranian support for destabilizing terror in the region. Meanwhile, Iran's Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei led funeral prayers for Haniyeh on Thursday in Tehran. Now, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said that the U.S. was not involved in the assassination of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh and reiterated the importance of a ceasefire in Gaza. In an interview, Blinken said that he did not want to speculate as to what effect Haniyeh's killing in the Iranian capital would have.
This is something we were not aware of or involved in. It's very hard to speculate, and I've learned over many years never to speculate on the impact one event may have on something else. So I can't tell you what this means. I can tell you that the imperative of getting a ceasefire, the importance that that has for everyone remains. And we will continue to labor that for as long as it takes to get there.
And now we're joined by Sarah Coates from Tel Aviv on the story. Sarah, just as the calls for restraint are getting louder, but what is the larger message Israel is trying to give to both terrorist groups Hamas and Hezbollah and to the governments in the region? Is the wider war in the region inevitable?
Hello. Hello there, Tanvi. Before we get to that, I will bring you some breaking news that just came in a couple of moments ago. The Israeli military has just confirmed, saying it has 100% certainty that Hamas's military leader, Mohammed Deif, who was targeted in an airstrike in Han Yunis about 3 weeks ago, the military says he is dead. So this is the second senior Hamas leader in just a matter of days that has been confirmed killed. That coming in, Tanvi, just a few moments ago. Now, getting back to your other question, what we did hear from the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu during that televised address last night to the Israeli public, he came out to warn that Israel will exact a very heavy price for any aggression against us. He said, though, that the country is facing challenging days ahead, adding, "We're ready for every scenario. We are prepared." Now, Tanvi, this comes as regional players, like specifically Iran, its supreme leader Ayatollah Khamenei, they continue to level warnings at Israel, especially in the wake of these two assassinations over the last couple of days, of course, on Ismail Haniyeh, whose funeral is being held right now in Tehran, and of course this very senior Hezbollah member in Beirut. Now, Haniyeh is threatening to launch missiles directly at Israel. This is being reported by the New York Times, citing two senior Iranian commanders. So, of course, this is very, very worrying, given what we've seen over the past few days, and also these renewed fears for potentially a wider regional war.
Okay, we leave it here for now. Thank you, Sarah Coates. Now, amidst international pressure to ensure transparency, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro has promised to release all the vote tallies from a disputed weekend election. On Wednesday, Maduro said that his Socialist Party was ready to release all of its vote tallies and urged the top court to force opposition parties to do the same. Meanwhile, shops and public transport across Venezuela remained shut as tensions continued over President Maduro's win. In a charged session at the Organization of American States in Washington, D.C., diplomats from across America voiced strong opinions regarding the Venezuelan elections. On Tuesday, OAS, that's Organization of American Studies, the Election Observation Department, said that it could not recognize the results by Venezuela's National Electoral Council, declaring President Nicolas Maduro the winner of Sunday's disputed vote. The CNE said Maduro had won with 51% of votes, but the opposition said its candidate, Edmundo Gonzalez, had more than twice as many votes as Maduro. U.S. Assistant Secretary Brian Nicholas said that Gonzalez defeated Maduro by a significant margin. Mexico boycotted the meeting, and the representatives from Argentina and Brazil stressed the need for transparency, while China and Russia have backed Nicolas Maduro. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, on his part, has said that he would be willing to resume talks with the United States if Washington shows Venezuela due respect. During a press conference, Maduro said he was open to re-establish talks under the Qatar agreement.
If the US government is willing to respect Venezuela's sovereignty and stop threatening Venezuela, we can resume the dialogue, but only based on a single point, the fulfillment of the Qatar agreement.
UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer will meet police chiefs after a second night of violence in English cities and towns following the killing of 3 children in an attack on Monday. Demonstrators took to the streets in the capital as well as in Manchester and surrounding towns. DD India's Stuart Smith sent us this report.
100 people were arrested in Westminster in London as police tried to disperse protesters close to Downing Street. More arrests took place elsewhere. In the face of continued disruption, the Prime Minister says he will give police leaders full backing. Downing Street says criminals who exploit the right to protest, to sow hatred and carry out violent acts will face the full force of the law. There has been speculation as to the identity of the unnamed attacker, who's only been confirmed as 17 years old and born in the UK by police. He's been charged with 3 counts of murder, 10 counts of attempted murder and 1 count of possession of an offensive weapon. Terrorism has not been offered as an explanation by police, who are still investigating his motivation and intentions. He'll appear in court later. Stuart Smith in London, reporting for DD India.
And next we take a look at other stories making news around the world. Myanmar's embattled military government on Wednesday extended its state of emergency for another 6 months. This is what the state media said as the junta struggles to maintain its grip on power, with fighting rising on multiple fronts and the economy being in crisis. Police in Bangladesh fired tear gas and stun grenades to disperse people who were demonstrating on Wednesday to join the March for Justice rally against the excessive use of force by authorities, leading to deaths, arrests and intimidation in the country. Police has detained at least 8 students in Dhaka. Arrest of the cartel chief Ismail El Mayo Zambada by U.S. authorities on July 25th resulted into the deployment of army in the northern state of Mexico's Sinaloa. Residents fearful of future clashes after the military reinforcements have exited. Still to come on DD India News Hour. Lives and routines disturbed as heavy rains cause havoc in the northern states of India. From cutting-edge 4G technology to advanced ICT solutions, Indian telecom companies are making a mark globally.
This summer, the world turns its eyes to Paris, and DD India brings you every heartbeat, every victory, and every story. Introducing our special coverage of the Paris Olympics. Experience the passion, the drama, and the triumphs. With exclusive reports, expert analysis, and up-to-the-minute updates. Join us as we bring the spirit of the Olympics to your screens.
Get ready for the ultimate sporting extravaganza on DD India.
DD India presents Champions Day Paris. Only on DD India. Every day at 6:30 p.m. IST, 1 p.m. GMT.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I am Tanvi Taneja. A reminder of the headlines we are tracking at this hour. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi hold talks with his Vietnamese counterpart Pham Minh Chinh in New Delhi. Agreement to expand strategic partnership signed. Calls for restraint grow after the killing of Hamas chief Ismail Haniyeh in Iran and a top Hezbollah commander in Beirut. Indian Embassy issues advisory for its citizens in Lebanon. After continued protests near Downing Street against the Southport stabbing incident, UK police arrests a 17-year-old boy from Lancashire, charges him with murder of 3 young girls. On to the heavy rains that are causing havoc in India, starting from the southern state of Kerala first. Well, Kerala is going through its worst ever natural disaster as official figure on death toll reaches 180 and 94 body parts have been recovered so far. The relief operations are ongoing. The Indian Air Force, in coordination with other agencies such as NDRF, State Administration, has been carrying out airlifting critical logistics supplies as well as evacuation operations. The Indian Army battalions are working on Class 24 Bailey Bridge, which is expected to be fully operational at the earliest. Search has been intensified to look out for the missing, as several people are still feared to be trapped. And on to the north of India, heavy rains have been causing havoc in several northern states of the country, disrupting lives and routines. In the national capital, Delhi, heavy rains on Wednesday caused waterlogging at many places. All the schools have been closed on Thursday in view of the current situation. Several flights have been cancelled, impacting tourists and travellers. In the hilly state of Uttarakhand, heavy rains have caused landslides in areas. 5 lives have been claimed so far, waterlogging and overflowing. I beg your pardon, waterlogging and overflowing rivers also washed roads at several places. So far, 43 people have been missing, with 6 people reported dead and 2 people rescued. Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami convened an urgent meeting and took stock of the relief and rescue operations. While in Himachal Pradesh, heavy rains from last night caused cloudbursts at many places, and this has resulted in flooding. So far, 22 people have been reported missing. Union Home Minister Amit Shah spoke to Chief Minister of Himachal Pradesh, Sukhvinder Singh Sukhu, and took information about the overall situation while assuring of all possible help from centre.
You can find out the cumulative rainfall activity, that is 1st June to 31st July, which shows that the red colored meteorological subdivisions, that is Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh, Himachal Pradesh, Punjab and Haryana, Chandigarh, Delhi, and here it is East UP, Bihar, Jharkhand, and against West Bengal, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, Tripura. These were the deficient monsoon rainfall meteorological subdivisions. Otherwise, it was normal to access, especially the South Peninsula and adjoining central India got excess rainfall activity.
So that was Dr. Mrityunjay Mohapatra, the Director General of India Meteorological Department, speaking on the recorded monsoon data. And now we are joined by Nandini Mittal from Shimla. Nandini, how many people have been affected after this cloudburst that has been reported from Samij Khad area of Rampur?
Around 50 people are missing in 3 different incidents in Himachal Pradesh. One happened in Rampur, another happened in Kullu, and even the Mandi area has received a cloudburst last night, and 9 people are missing. 2 have been saved by the administration in the incident. But presently the concern is about the Rampur incident, where the dam has been damaged and around 36 people are missing. 2 bodies have been recovered till now. So the main concern is there, where NDRF team, it is very difficult to reach that area, as the roads and the connecting roads have been washed away in the cloudburst incident.
And Nandini, what are we hearing of the rescue efforts, and of course any advisory has it been issued for the days ahead?
Actually, the Met Department has issued orange alert, particularly in Kullu district, Mandi district, then Solan, Shimla also. We are knowing that in 2023, around 500 people were killed in different incidents of landslides and cloudburst in Himachal Pradesh. This time also, it's the beginning of rains, and around 50 people are missing right now. So it is a matter of concern also for Himachal Pradesh government. Though the Himachal Pradesh government and even Kankana Ranauat will represent Lok Sabha from Himachal Pradesh, from Mandi district, she has also advised and requested the tourists who comes to Himachal Pradesh in large number these days not to come to Himachal, restrain from taking travel to Himachal Pradesh.
Okay, restraint from travelling to Himachal Pradesh. That's the message being given by authorities there. Thank you very much, Nandini Mittal, for joining us on DD India News Hour. And next, we take a look at more stories making news from India. The country's top court has declared that sub-classification within the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes is permissible. A 7-judge bench in a 6-1 majority held that states are empowered to make this classification for granting quota in jobs and admissions. The top court overturned the previous ruling by a 5-judge bench which held that sub-classification violated constitutional norms. Lieutenant General Sadhana Saxena Nair has been appointed as the first woman Director General Medical Services of the Indian Army, marking a historical achievement in the Indian military. With extensive qualifications and a distinguished career, she has previously held multiple pioneering positions and has been recognized for her meritorious service in the past. And India will host its first multinational air exercise, Tarang Shakti 2024, in 2 phases from 6th of next month in Solar, Tamil Nadu. Nearly 30 countries will participate, and out of those 30, 10 countries will join the exercise with their fighter aircrafts. The exercise will showcase India's defence prowess and provide a platform for participating militaries to foster interoperability. India is making waves on the global stage with its indigenous telecom equipment. From cutting-edge 4G technology to advanced ICT solutions, Indian companies are not only meeting domestic demands, but are also exporting to over 100 countries. A special report follows.
India's telecom sector is on an unprecedented growth trajectory. According to the centre, the country exported telecom equipment and services worth more than $18.2 billion last year, with Indian-made products now reaching over 100 countries, including Western nations like the United States. The Indian ICT industry is providing solutions to the world, showcasing India's leadership in this domain. The Indian government also recently announced that the Indian Army has integrated its first indigenous chip-based 4G mobile base station, a significant milestone developed by India's own research and development firms. The Indian ICT industry's leadership and expertise in data analytics and artificial intelligence are also empowering defense forces worldwide. The Indian ICT sector's reputation for innovation and integrity is now globally recognized, providing critical solutions across various domains. Indian ICT companies' achievement in the defense sector is also commendable. Several companies have already displayed cutting-edge technology, innovation and manufacturing in India, and ICT forms a critical backbone for operations in the defense sector. India is also looking to enhance its global cooperation in the ICT development. It is pertinent to mention here on India's commitment with Africa in this sector. As one of the top 5 investors in the continent, with $75 billion in cumulative investment, India is focusing on emerging technologies like artificial intelligence and blockchain to address Africa's unique challenges. With its robust growth and innovative solutions, India's telecom and ICT sectors are truly making their mark globally, positioning the country as a leader in this domain. Dibyendu Mondal's report for DD India.
You're with us on DD India News Hour, still to come on the show. The US Federal Reserve keeps interest rates steady but signals to reduce borrowing costs as soon as its next meeting in September. And India's doubles pair of Satvik Sairaj Rankireddy and Chirag Shetty eye semi-final berth at the Paris Olympics 2024. All that and more on the other side.
hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Thank you for staying with us. You're watching DD India News Hour. I am Tanvi Taneja. On to some business news now. The Federal Reserve of the United States held interest rates steady on Wednesday, but opened the door to reducing borrowing costs as soon as its next meeting in September, as inflation continues coming into line with the US Central Bank's 2% target. While Fed officials are wary of any actions that could mar their data, not politics approach to setting monetary policy, the steady drop in inflation in recent months has prompted a broad consensus that the inflation battle was near its end.
Broad sense of the committee is that the economy is moving closer to the point at which it will be appropriate to reduce our policy rate. In that, we will be data dependent, but not data point dependent. So it will not be a question of responding specifically to one or two data releases. The question will be whether the totality of the data, the evolving outlook, and the balance of risks are consistent with rising confidence on inflation and maintaining a solid labor market. If that test is met, a reduction in our policy rate could be on the table as soon as the next meeting in September.
And on to the stock markets now. In India, equity indices opened at a lifetime high on Thursday following positive global cues. In early trading hours, Sensex and the Nifty made new all-time highs, and the Sensex at the BSE was trading 109 points up at 81,851, and the Nifty 50 traded 54 points up at 25,005 a short while ago. And time now for all the sporting action, especially from Paris Olympics, and we've had a big news, a very positive news. Abhishek, we've got a third bronze medal. Fill us in.
Absolutely, Tanvi, third bronze medal for India, and that too in shooting. This is happening for the first time. In fact, we'll start with that story itself. Shooter Swapnil Kushale secured India's third medal at the Paris 2024 Olympics shooting competition after finishing third in the men's 50-meter rifle 3 positions final at the National Shooting Centre on Thursday. The 28-year-old finished third with 195 in standing after 156.8 in prone and 153.3 in the kneeling rounds. Swapnil had finished 7th in the qualifying round with a total score of 590, including 38 in a tens from 3 positions. Swapnil has become the first Indian shooter to win an Olympic medal in the men's 50-meter rifle 3 position event. This is India's third shooting medal, and the first medal came on Monday when Manu Bhaker claimed a bronze in women's 10-meter air pistol event, making her the first Indian shooter to win an Olympic medal. Bhaker made history again on Tuesday by winning another bronze with Sarabjot Singh in the 10-meter pistol mixed team event. She became the first post-independence Indian athlete to win 2 medals in a single Olympic edition. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi took to social media platform X to extend his heartfelt wishes to Swapnil Kushale. He wrote, and I quote him, "Exceptional performance by Swapnil Kushale. Congrats to him for winning the bronze medal in the men's 50-meter rifle 3 positions at the Paris Olympics 2024. His performance is special because he's shown great resilience and skills. He's also the first Indian athlete to win a medal in this category. Every Indian is filled with happiness." And India's Sports Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia also congratulated Swapnil Kushale. He wrote on X, and I quote him, "Congratulations to Swapnil Kushale for winning a historic bronze medal in the men's 50-meter rifle 3 positions at the Paris Olympics 2024. The first Indian to win a medal in Olympics in this event. Your achievement makes us incredibly proud." All right, we'll go across to Paris now. DD India's Narayan Singh is joining us live from there. Narayan, big moment. First medal for India in 50-meter rifle, 3 positions. Tell us, how big is this?
Abhishek, definitely we can say a monumental and one of the best moments in the Indian sports, not only Indian shooting, winning a medal in the rifle, 50-meter 3-position rifle event. It's a big thing, and we can say that this will just be written in the annals of the Indian history, the way our shooters are performing. And if you take a look in the last 2 Olympics, there were no medal in the shooting. Now this time around, the work done by the National Rifle Association of India, Sports Authority of India, and the sports ministry, the kind of work they are doing and the hard work of a shooter, all is, we can say, that working here. And the way, if you talk about Swapnil, at one point of time he was at the 6th after 15 shots in the kneeling, but the way he make a comeback when he was at the 6th with 3 consistent shots in the prone and the 2 consistent shots in the we can say in standing. He is the king of the comebacks from 6th to 3rd at a stage like the Olympic. It shows where our athletes stand and what is their mental status, how mentally strong they are. If you talk about all the big players in the world, whether it is in tennis, football, hockey, they all know the art of how to bounce back, and Swapnil Kushale has done exactly that thing here. And we know that the kind of support they are getting, not only infrastructural support, not only the support with equipment, not only support with the schemes like TOPS and Khelo India, but the emotional support they are getting from the system, especially from the top leadership. When they are winning the medals, our PM talks to them, interacts with them, encourages them and wishes them. And we are talking to the Manu Bhakar and Sarabjot. They said that when PM speaks to them, when interacts with them, definitely it acts like a morale booster for them. And this is exactly reflecting here in their performance.
Absolutely, Narayan. Manu Bhakar and Sarabjot Singh, they spoke about top scheme and also the Khelo India scheme. But tell us how are scenes there in Paris. And also you want to share the journey of Swapnil Kushale. He was a ticket collector when he was 12 years of age, and now winning a bronze medal for India, and that too in 50-meter rifle, 3 positions.
Yeah, this is the beauty of this country, where every person is getting opportunity. If you know that the event like shooting is so expensive, and the kind of support they are getting from the government, from getting the assistant to buy the rifle, pistol, and for the ammunition and their service of their rifle, which is happening in the Germany. Everywhere they are getting the support and opportunity, and you can see the rise of this player from being a ticket collector to the top of the Olympic podium. This shows that what kind of facilities are there in India and what kind of environment is, we can say, that has been rolled out for our athletes. It doesn't matter from which background you come, whether you are from the humble background or from anywhere, from any corner of the India, you will get an opportunity. We have the schemes right there in the place. We have the top schemes for the elite athletes. We have the schemes for the grassroots level athletes for Khelo India, and many more. We can say Quest for Olympic scheme is there. So everywhere the scheme, because of that facilities, our athletes are getting an opportunity to be there in the top of the world. If you talk about Swapnil Kushale, this was his first Olympics, and we are hoping that with getting a momentum here, he will after this Olympics also, he will continue this winning trend and bring more laurels for the country.
Absolutely. 3rd medal for India in shooting in Paris Olympics, and overall 7th medal for India at the Olympic. We'll leave it at that. Thank you, Narayan, for inputs. On day 6 of the Paris Olympics, some of the India's medal hopefuls will be in action in their respective matches. Knockout events in badminton also kick off. PV Sindhu, Lakshya Sen, HS Pranoy will feature in their respective single matches, while Satvik Sairaj Rankireddy and Chirag Shetty will also play their doubles pre-quarterfinal game. And in boxing, India's Nishant Dev entered the quarterfinals of the 71kg men's competition. Now he's 1 win away from a medal. He overcame Jose Gabriel Rodriguez Tenorio of Ecuador at the Paris Olympics on Wednesday. Nishant Dev won the contest 3-2 via a split decision. Nishant Dev started the bout on an aggressive note, landing straight and precise punches on his opponent to win the first round comfortably. But the Ecuadorian saved his best for the last. In the end, the Indian did enough to defend his score and secure a place in the last 8 rounds. And Spain's dream team met its match as Rafael Nadal and Carlos Alcaraz, Hopes of an Olympic doubles gold medal were ended by American duo Rajiv Ram and Austin Krajicek. The journey was ended in a 6-2, 6-4 quarterfinal defeat. 38-year-old Nadal began the games by carrying the Olympic flame in the opening ceremony, but ends it without the third Olympic medal. He craved on what could well be his last appearance on his beloved Parisian clay. All right, that's all we have in sports stories. Back to you, Tanvi.
Thank you very much. A very cheerful day for India at the Paris Olympics. Yes. All right. As we wind up this edition of DD India News, a story about making the future of agriculture more sustainable and more easy in future. Named Claws, a farming robot, is going to do just that. Egg tech startup Earth Rover's AI-powered farming robot Claws has been designed for weeding and crop monitoring, making future farms more sustainable. With commercial availability planned for 2026, this robot aims to reduce greenhouse gas emissions from the future farms. So that's the future of agriculture there for you. Before we wind up, a breaking news coming in. Hamas military leader Daif's death has been confirmed. This is what Israeli authorities are saying at the moment. The head of Hamas's military wing, Mohammed Daif, was killed in an Israeli strike in Gaza last month. The Israeli military said on Thursday, a day after the group's political leader was assassinated in Tehran, Ismail Haniyeh. The IDF, Israeli Defense Forces, have announced that on July 13, 2024, IDF fighter jets struck in the area of Khan Yunis, and following an intelligence assessment, it can be confirmed that Mohammed Daif was eliminated in the strike. This is what Sarah Coates, our correspondent from Tel Aviv, also said in her live. So a string of killings happening in the region. Ismail Haniyeh, then this was in Iran, then a top Hezbollah commander in Beirut, and now this IDF releasing another killing news, the head of Hamas's military wing, Mohammed Daif. And for more on this story, we are now joined by Amritpal Singh. Amritpal, how do we see these latest developments in the region? How do you assess these killings happening one after the other? Are we closer to a wider war?
I don't know about that, whether we are closer to a wider war, but the threat of it looms large, yes. With the military now, the IDF now confirming that in its July 13th airstrike, Mohammed Daif was killed, is essentially, leading. I think they knew for a long time that Mohammed Daif was dead. In fact, within Hamas and Hezbollah top leadership, they knew that on 13th of July airstrike, because it was quite a coordinated airstrike. The Israeli jets were in the air for about a day and a half tracking Mohammed Daif, and when they knew that Rafah Salameh, they were tracking the location of Rafah Salameh, and when Mohammed Daif enters that room, tiny room, they pounded airstrikes there. 5 aircraft units were up in the sky, pounding in that tiny room in Khan Yunis. So I think the Israeli military was very clear that Mohammed Daif is dead. They had this video that they've released just now, a few hours back. They had that video, and they knew there was no way Mohammed Daif would be dead. But I think the timing of the revelation is essentially to launch a psychological warfare, or what is called as information warfare. These are PSYOPs, which all militaries do take, essentially with the killing of Haniyeh, with the killing of Fuad Shukr. They are trying to, launch an information warfare where people like Yahya Sanwar either come on ground or overboard, or at least the cadres can be demoralized. Whether they succeed in doing so remains to be seen.
All right, we leave it here. Thank you, Amritpal Singh, for joining us on this story. That's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. News and updates continue on our channel. Do give us your feedback on our different social media handles, Facebook, X, formerly Twitter and Instagram at DD India Live. And for those on the go, you can catch all the latest news and updates on our DD India mobile app. So we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Tanvi Taneja from my entire team here in New Delhi. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.